Hey, how are you? Nice to
I'm
meet you, Chrissy.
nice to meet you. Thank you for taking a few minutes out to speak with us. Appreciate it. So, I mean, everyone is super excited for Shark Week. I mean, what do you think leads to our fascination with these magnificent creatures?
I would say it's just that, these animals are incredible. They are the perfect mixture of fear and fascination. We are always fascinated by things we don't really know a lot about. We're always fascinated by things that are dangerous. That's why serial killer shows are always so,
Right.
popular. Just the same kind of mentality that we're tapping into. The cool thing about sharks is that, they're just on our planet. They've always been here, and we're studying them. We're learning about them. We're learning they're so important to a healthy ocean. So I think it's that mixture of fear and fascination.
Absolutely. I mean, I was so fascinated by what you guys were able to do with the whale carcass. And although it's probably the coolest thing I've seen, like built I can't even imagine what it was like to be inside of that.
It was insane. Yeah, I mean, it's something I actually wanted to do for a couple of years now in Shark Week. It was like the perfect show
Mhm.
concept because it's not just a stunt at all. This is
Right.
based on research that I've done on whale carcasses that has shown these whale carcasses are really powerful cues for bringing large white sharks to the carcass. And that's what we wanted to do in the show, and it worked. So, yeah, to be in there making observations. I've been in shark cages before. I've been
Mhm.
inside the cage with white sharks. It's amazing, but you're always separated by metal bars. So to
Right.
be inside something that a white shark doesn't see as an obstacle, but sees as food, and to do so through clear glass, it's a different vibe for sure.
Oh, I can only imagine. And, even watching, how you guys kind of got in a little bit of that hairy situation with being out in in the raft and you in the in the carcass. And, it kind of came up very unexpectedly because obviously nature is very unpredictable. So I'm sure
Yeah.
there's no way that you could really prepare for that kind of scenario.
No, yeah, you got to be ready on your toes, and you got to just surround yourself with the best team. I mean, honestly, that's what we did. These shows, the viewers don't realize that the people who are on these shows, everybody from the filmmakers to the producers, the talent, the scientists, the people who are doing audio, the medics, they are the best of the best. And you have to get referred into these shows, so you have the best talented people backing you, supporting you from a safety perspective. And it just all comes together in the most beautiful way. And that's actually my favorite part of doing Shark Week now for, 5 or 6 years, is the people that I get to do it with.
So I was curious, how long does it take to put was it's Earl, right? Back together again. Like after, because it seemed like you guys were able to get it back up and running rather quickly, after the first experiment to bring it back out again.
What are you talking about specifically, Chrissy?
Oh, with the carcass, how long does it take for you guys to put it back together again? So once you blow it up, release everything, or the shark bites, one of the fins off, how long does
Okay.
it take to redo it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, just a couple of hours really to just re-rig everything. We lost a few cameras. Sharks bit a couple cameras off. We
Okay.
lost one of the scuba jets. Getting the actual, entire apparatus, off of the main boat into the water and then back into the main boat when we went in after a day of shooting. That was actually the most difficult thing. But yeah, we had extra pieces for where the sharks did a little bit of damage.
Okay. That's like what I was curious about because I was like, oh, there it goes. So I wonder how
Yep.
long it takes to refabricate it.
Pretty quick.
Absolutely. So I know you were able to tag at least two sharks. What kind of research has there been? Any follow up to any of that? Just in finding out, where any more, or with especially tracking like the one, it was the 18-foot one that you found.
Yep. So we are still tracking Ray. That is her name. That's the 18-foot white shark, the
Okay.
female. She's still off South Africa. She's still off the East Coast. She's moved a couple hundred miles south. She's also been seen by other divers on the
Okay.
scene. That's been pretty cool. So yeah, we
Yeah.
know she's out there. It's just remarkable. We'll be able to follow this individual along for a while. Also, if anybody ever sees this shark again, which is likely, and gets a photo, we can identify it based on its fin markings, fin identification. So yeah, we are still tracking this animal for the next probably year or so. And this is a real boon to Dr. Allison Towner's work. She was on the show with me,
Right.
who's leading that study, long-term in South Africa.
Absolutely. It was, fascinating too to learn just how that, two orcas were able to kind of just wipe out that population almost. It's like you wouldn't think with so many sharks, that they'd be able to take it out like that.
They're the most powerful predator in the ocean in terms of just control, honestly. I mean, white sharks are right there, but we know now that white sharks become prey to orcas. And it's a little humbling, but the shark will always prevail. And I think that's one of the cool things about Shark Week. 35 years, still going, still learning new things, still pushing the boundary, still showing new stuff, still getting people excited. People keep tuning in for a reason. Absolutely. And it's exciting to be part of that.
So if you had to pick one thing, or two things of what, do people kind of misunderstand about sharks, that I feel like people get it wrong or just have a wrong opinion about it.
I would say sharks are not mindless killers. They're opportunistic. They are very opportunistic, but they're not mindless. They're very calculating. They're very strategic, particularly in the case of the white shark, very strategic. And very curious, they're very, very inquisitive. Oftentimes, large sharks will spend a lot of time investigating something before they bite it. We see that all the time. Sometimes it can take an animal, an hour or two to gain confidence around a big piece of chum before it takes a bite. Not always, but sometimes. And then the other thing too is that, these animals are very, very endangered. Their populations are really in threat due to overfishing. And that's something we need to watch out for.
Absolutely. So, I mean, what is next for you? Are there any other upcoming projects in the works for you?
Yeah, so a lot of the work that I do on sharks and oceans in general is done through my conservation NGO that I founded, which is called Beneath the Waves. And, we're doing a lot of really cool studies in the Caribbean on shark migrations, and we do work in the deep sea. That's another area that is super exciting. Done some Shark Week content in the deep sea before. And really, like, one of the big questions we have is, how do sharks connect the deep sea with their movements? Are they eating squid? These kind of things. So yeah, I'm a big fan of pushing the boundary, new frontiers, innovation, and a little bit of danger is okay, but you got to know when to dial it back. So yeah, stay tuned. I think there's going to be some really cool stuff this year and always into the future as well.
That's awesome. We're super excited to see it. And I want to thank you so much for taking a few minutes out to speak with me. Fascinating.
My pleasure. Thank you. So happy Shark Week.
You too.
All right.